What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Rich and Turbo Heavy Half Hour. Today, you just get me, Rich. You can find me on X at FuzzDoomRip, over at all the other socials at Rich.Paiva, Doom Charts contributor, and as a reviewer for Musopedia of Metal. I am extremely excited to have Jon Torres from Psalm on the show with us. Jon, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's such a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having us on, on behalf of the band. It's honestly, thank you for having us. It's a great pleasure.
Absolutely. I'd ask you why on the promo material that they have your nickname as Fro, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be pretty evident to anybody watching the episode. But you guys just released a couple days ago I don't want to say your first EP, because you have had some stuff before, but your first EP as this version of the band. It's called In Darkness Have Mercy. 4 killer, I'd call them kind of traditional Doom, kind of proto, but with your own kind of modern spin on things. Would that be a pretty accurate way to explain it?
Definitely, because we definitely try to get the influences from all over. And yeah, some of the modern, some of the old, and try to give a good mixture of our own kind of ideas and our own little signature touch, and see how it sounds. And that's sort of how like Blessed with a Curse, the last song on the album, that was the guys' idea. They loved how it sounded, but they're like, I want us to do it how we do it. And I was like, let's see how it sounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's complete. In my opinion, it sounds completely different. I love all the changes in how it sounds. They were right.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily know it's the same song. And it's an amazing song, so I'm very happy that it was included on this EP.
Thank you, man.
So the two new guys that you have in the band, we have Carlos on guitar and Ian on drums. What makes them the reason why Psalm is the band that it should be at this point?
So not only as musicians are they not only so 100% trustworthy and just the most talented musicians you could ever work with, but they're the most down-to-earth people as well. I'm so honored to call them bandmates as well as my best friends. You get me? And that's very rare in a band. And when there's nothing but laughs and riffs just across the room, it's very easy to get a really good chemistry and a really good vibe going. And honestly, it's as much as they're, like I said, they're talented. The fact that we have good chemistry, I think, is why we're doing all of what we're doing right now, and why we're progressing how we are, and why we're so connected.
Love it. Yeah, and not that the earlier material was not good. It's just so different, and now the sound is just so big, I think, compared to where it was. Were you going for that kind of bigger sound with this, or did you have maybe more access to different places to record, or how did that happen?
All right. So the first EP, was so I was working with he was a friend of mine, and he did a DIY studio kind of thing. So he worked off his laptop and just a couple little inputs, and he would record bands for like $100, $200. And he would give us really good deals, and the quality for that was really good.
Yeah.
He would be straight up with you, like, hey, for instance, for my singing, he's like, you have to be on point. I can't do any of the, I'm not a producer. I'm just doing this out of my garage. So that's what he would tell me, and we would try our best as a band. But for instance, I would think I lacked a lot on my vocals back then, because that was my first time ever singing. And just in general, the sound and the quality for the money we paid for is what we got. And we released as an EP, but in reality, I think it's more of a demo.
Yeah, yeah. So as a demo, I think it sounds great. Like it's a great introduction to, I think, some of your ideas of what you wanted to do. And I feel In Darkness is like a really great progression from there.
Thank you, man.
I grew up listening to a lot of like early punk and hardcore stuff in like the late 80s, early 90s, and that's what demo sounded like. I mean, if you could get that sound, it was amazing for like what those bands can do. So
the producer we worked with, he was so we were in a band too. The producer, my friend, we were in a band, and we were in a punk band. So
Yeah, there you go.
completely
There you go.
understand that, man.
So now you guys are headquartered out of Vegas now, because I know you were a California band, but you're a Vegas band now. Is that an
Definitely.
accurate statement? All right,
Yes.
excellent. Don't talk to too many Vegas bands, so this is cool. Because I don't necessarily know if Vegas is known for big riffs and doomy stuff. And also looking at this as someone who's been around for a while and looking at you, maybe not as long as I have in the world. How did one become? When I'm looking at your for fans of, I see things like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and Trouble. How did you become a fan of those bands that made you want to just create these gigantic riffs that you do on the EP?
Wow. So on those are really good influences you mentioned right there too, because yeah, that's a variety of everybody in the band too. Everybody agreed on Zeppelin. Everybody agreed on Trouble. And yeah, we all had similar upbringings. As a child, I had my parents listen to classic rock, and Led Zeppelin was always one of those bands. And my dad was he was a dad rock dad. He played all the jams, all the greatest hits whenever I was with him. And Trouble's probably my favorite doom metal band, if you can't tell. And they were probably the reason why I did want to play doom metal, because
Well,
I had already listened to Candlemass. I had already listened to a couple different bands, like Acid Witch was one of my first bands I heard as well. And seeing all the different varieties you could do in doom with not just being slow, having that groove, having that change of tempo, having just mixing it up. And Trouble was one of those bands that kind of led me into that. Well, broke down some walls. It kind of was like I could do a lot of stuff with this genre, not just one thing, kind of thing.
love it. If anybody who knows my socials, my whatever you call the picture next to your profile is a picture of Trouble, Manic Frustration, the album
Oh,
cover. Because
I noticed it.
yeah, I'm just a huge Trouble fan. So when I saw that on there, I'm like, we got to talk.
Definitely, man.
Do you have a favorite Trouble album or song or something that you go to if you have to pull one out?
It would have to be Plastic Greenhead.
All
Honestly.
right. Oh, I love that answer.
It's such a that's like their middle career kind of album, and it's one of my favorites because of how groovy and how much they evolved at that point. And their music at that point was, they had that intro with Plastic Greenhead, and they also had songs like the Requiem, that were very melodic, very, very different, and I was like, that's beautiful. I would love to have that sort of just that palette, to be able to do in my music.
I love that. I love that answer because I think that record is a very underrated and should be more loved record. I think people who know, right? But like
Definitely.
sometimes I think people stop at Manic because they were in a different place. They were not on a big label anymore. And I'm a big fan of they do a cover of the Porpoise song by the Monkees on there. Oh, God, I
Yes.
just love it so much.
I always go back to that.
Oh, it's so great. Excellent. I love that you guys are channeling Trouble there. The other one I saw on there that was interesting to me was Pantera, because on the surface, I don't think you guys sound like Pantera, but when you start to listen to your bass playing, I feel like I hear Pantera. Is it you who are the Pantera guy, or was that another band?
Honestly, that was Ian. He was the one who mentioned Pantera, and I was like, dude, I agree, because I love Rex's tone. I love his aggression. And I totally hear Vinnie Paul's influence in his drumming. He kicks the shit out of his drums whenever we practice and play shows. And he's always on point. He's always solid. He is the best drummer I've ever worked with. And this whole year, I've just been blown away by just how much he's still evolving. And I'm just like, you're already a machine, and you're still updating yourself every day. I see him practicing his little rudiments in the studio before we're practicing. He's like, look what I learned this time, look what I'm doing this. I'm just like, damn, dude. He influences me to become a better musician.
Excellent. So how long have you been, as a rhythm section, how long have you guys been playing together?
Well, Psalm has been together since 2020, but we've been about a year now, since last April. Our first show was in like around mid-April, late April. We played our first show, but that was with me on drums, and I was singing.
Oh,
Carlos on guitar, and we had another bass player who was around for maybe like just a couple months. But that was the first lineup of the live shows, and
wow.
it was just the let's start this wheel, let's keep this ball rolling, let's see what we could do. And that's the show we met Ian. He was in the crowd, front
Awesome.
row.
Awesome.
And
That's very cool. Loving the music, I assume. Because did he come up to you and be like, "I want to be in the band"? Because I can't watch you sing and play at the same time. 'Cause it's driving me crazy.
I feel like he did have that idea. And at the same time, me and Carlos, I was talking, I was like, dude, Sonolith, have you heard of them? He's like, no, I haven't. I was like, dude, they're one of my favorite bands right now in Vegas. Just like, cause I was very new, and I was like, Sonolith is the first band I heard. And I was like, dude, check out Sonolith, hear the rhythm section, but look at the drummer, man. We could probably maybe see if we could talk to him. See if he'd been interested in, upgrading the band, because I'm kind of dragging it down with my basic punk chops.
It's just I've watched like you watch like old school like Phil Collins play drums and sing and Don Henley the Eagles play drums and sing. They're not they're playing difficult stuff, I guess. Like I couldn't do it, but like I watched the dude from Mastodon sing and play drums, and I'm like, please, how are you like a human being doing that? Like keeping your head still making your voice sound like you're actually singing and doing the friggin' crazy shit that he's doing. So I ask you that because I feel like that's just a really hard thing to do.
He was one of my main influences.
Oh, really? Okay.
To like when they told me. Because the reason why they drove me to be the drummer was because they were like, you're the only one who has the most knowledge on the drums, and it will get the ball rolling. And then they're like, why don't you start trying to sing? And I was like, oh, dude. Oh, man. Let me try. And then I was like, let me channel my inner Mastodon, my inner Brutus, because I started looking up bands that did have drummers that sang. And yeah, there's another band called Brutus. I don't know her name, but she does an amazing job. She plays drums.
The Italian band?
It could be. They're a 3-piece.
Okay, I have to look them up. Pretty sure that they're. I'm pretty sure I know the band that you're talking about. But yeah, it's like I hear you say that you sang and played drum. I'm like, oh god, that makes me tired thinking about just watching and thinking about you doing that.
Man, it was.
So you guys got together after that show. So the current lineup has been together for about a little more than a year.
Yeah. Right? So like at the end of the year, it'd be like a year and a half kind of thing.
All right, cool. And are you guys playing out still as this unit or? Yeah.
Yes, we are. We have we played 2 LA shows now.
Cool.
Since we've been here in Vegas, we played one kind of it was like a warehouse show. It was pretty fun. It was like a DIY show, and the second show we opened up for Pentagram at the Whiskey, and that was a really good show.
You went from a warehouse show to open it up for Pentagram at the Whiskey. How the hell did that happen? I need to know how that happened.
So, man, I've been in a bunch of bands, and doing all the booking sometimes, and sometimes just the promoting. I had to contact some promoters, and there was this one time where a promoter reached out to one of the band pages I was in, just asking, hey, do you want to play a show at the Whiskey? And I just kept his contact for emergencies and stuff. And he became a good friend of mine. His name is Jake Perry. He works at the Whiskey. And every time I'm in town or something, we'd always have like a good chat, and we'd always be able to, connect and have like an update on who was coming to town if I was interested. And Pentagram was one of those bands, and I out of the blue hit him up after a couple of years, and he was like, yeah, dude, let me know. I got you guys. And like I said, huge shout out to Jake Perry, because he really put us on there, and he really helped us out. And yeah, that show couldn't have gone smoother, because that was literally the date before we started recording the EP.
Oh, wow. You're probably going in on a high there. Like, we just friggin' opened for Pentagram. We don't have an EP as this band yet. We just opened for Pentagram. That is very cool.
Crazy, man.
Did you get to meet Bobby or Tony Reed or any of those guys?
We did meet Tony, and we met. I'm blanking on his name. Henry. We met Tony and Henry, and man, they're both sweethearts, man. They're both sweet and humble, down to earth people. Bobby was in his dressing room, was off limits, so we weren't able to go there.
Bobby's like he's a viral star now, so it's like,
Yeah. And I think it was that show too that got him into that publicity too.
It's It's unbelievable. We've had Tony Reed on the show a couple of times. Just he like the guy just took like over an hour both times. He didn't know me from anywhere. We were connected through Todd at Ripple, and he came on and just so knowledgeable, such a nice guy. We had him on again just to do like a Black Sabbath kind of. He's like what my co-host Turbo, who couldn't be here tonight. He let me know that Tony has like the best Black Sabbath bootleg collection like in the world. So we brought him on to talk about that stuff. But just the bands he's in, the how his playing, his tone, how he can go in different directions, his singing, the dude is just amazing. That's as a young band, I can imagine that's like, you know, that kind of exposure.
I think it was the perfect thing we needed to go into the studio, because we used all of that, because that show really launched us with the momentum that we needed to go into the studio. Because we saw how they sounded, and I've been a big Pentagram for a while. I saw them on their last show at the Regent that they played with Victor Griffin on guitar, so I was like, let me see how this new lineup sounds, and man, I was blown away. I was like, wow, this is it was, like I said, it was a monumental, historic moment that I was like, let's go into the studio, boys. I'm ready. Let's do it, full blast.
So when you open for those guys and you're playing live, are you playing the 4 songs on the EP and then some other stuff, or what does your set look like?
So we have a mixture of it. So we have Infernal Sorrow on the set list. That's one of the songs off Blessed. And we played the entire set list just off the EP. Because we didn't want to go over time either. We didn't want to accidentally play like 2 extra songs and not be welcome back. So we kept it very straightforward and played the whole EP and just a couple bonus songs when we had time. And mainly off of the first EP. We didn't want to do any covers at the time, just so we could fully promote ourselves at that place and in front of those giants,
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. So when you went into the studio, how long did it take you to hammer out these 4 songs? They're it's not like, like you mentioned, you've been in a bunch of punk bands, so it's not like you're just going in 3 chords and screaming and you're done. It seems like there's a lot more going on with these types of tracks. What did that look like?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it's exactly like that. And the last time I was at the studio was with that punk band, and we were there for like an hour, like 2 hours, and we were done. And this band, we were there for, I want to say 3 days. We were there from like the 14th on Valentine's Day of February till like the 16th. And we did drums one day, rhythms the next, vocals the last. And it all went really smooth, and I'm so glad it did. I was excited, but at the same time, it was a mixture of emotions, because it's like, this is the first release. It's got to be really good, Yeah. It's got to be, and I tried my hardest to, practice my vocals, because I have Carlos' guitar too, and the bass, So I tried my best to just freshen up all the chops.
Like I said, I reached out to you the second that I heard this through Kyle, and said I had to have you guys on. So what I'm seeing, just looking at your promotional material, you guys are doing some physical media for this too, cassettes and vinyl. Is that a thing?
Yes, sir. We're working on that. I was working on that today, literally at work on my lunch break. Don't tell them. I was working on some CD covers and cassette covers to start manufacture pressings. We do have some vinyl test pressings on the way, so we could see how it's going to be like when we do order the whole bulk. That might be after our show on the 9th that we have coming up, but we do have CDs that are going to be ready for sure on the show, and hopefully cassettes, but for sure CDs, so people can at least hear it in their cars or at home if they want to hear the physical media.
Yeah, I think it goes a long way. I think it does a lot for people, especially with new bands, to have, for people to have stuff in their hands. You mentioned that you have some shows coming up on the 9th. Who are you? Tell us about, is that like a record release show, or
yes.
What do you get? Oh, excellent.
You're guessing them, man. That's gonna be our EP release show on August the 9th. It's gonna be at the Grey Witch here in Vegas, and we have a couple bands coming out. We have our friends in LA called Regal Beagle. That's a punk band that we're really close with. And another band called Cattle Mass from LA, and they blew us away. They played with us at the Whiskey as well with Pentagram, and we were surprised that they're like such a solid band, and they're like brand new. And I'm like, dudes, come to Vegas, we got you guys over here if you guys want to play our release show. And they immediately said, yeah.
Did you say
And then
cattle mass? Like
cattle mass, yeah.
cattle and mass? Okay. And I also am very intrigued by the name of the other band. Do you, as an old guy, I know where that comes from. Do you know where that name comes from?
I don't.
Okay, just you can. I'm sure their dads told them this, but it's the bar in the '80s television show Three's Company. That's where they took that from.
Oh,
it's a great name for a band.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I love that they get inspirations like that, man.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks now to my childhood. Was there other bands playing too? You mentioned,
and there's one more. There's one called Greyflower, and they're locals here with us as well. And yeah, they're amazing guys as well. We haven't played a show with them. We've kind of almost like crossed paths before because we've been booked together, but some of those shows have fallen, or they've had to drop out, or we've had to drop out. So we kind of just constantly like, look it. We need to play a show. Do you guys want to be on the bill? You know, we know you guys just because of flyers we've almost played. Let's make it happen. And they're like, yes, we are available. Let's make it happen.
Very
and
cool.
It's just those three bands, and we're the ones who are going to be headlining. And yeah, it's going to be like around 8 o'clock. But it's going to be a good show. We're really excited for it.
So as a headlining band, you got to come up with some more songs, I assume, right? So you're going to play your EP, some of the old songs. Do you have covers in mind or covers that you guys go to?
Yes,
usually?
we do. We have some. I'm not sure we should spoil them. But
No, don't spoil it.
They're definitely going to be
How about a
some
hint?
that are going to be good. I mean, what's our favorite band? You know,
Okay,
what's
good. All right, cool. Please make someone record that one and share with us. I'd like to.
Oh,
I'd
we're
like
definitely
to
going
hear
to try
that.
to record it. We're definitely going to try to record it, and we're going to send it to you for sure.
I'd love to hear it. Now, I have to go because everybody laughs at me because I have this podcast that's about like stoner doom and everything else. But like I mentioned, I'm huge into kind of hardcore and punk and stuff back in the day. What are your favorite bands from that side of your musical taste?
Oh, punk? That's crazy because as much as, yeah, I was in a punk band and it was a punk metal band, and the other band I was in also involved the same singer. So we were in two bands together, and that was a straight up thrash band. So most of my influences have only been thrash to, only metal because I've listened to all types of metal, but punk has always been my weakest point, I have to say.
Oh, I mean,
And they were I like Black Flag. I like the DRIs and the
Love
basics
DRI.
kind of thing.
Love
But
DRI.
they were my first band that got me into punk, and I started listening to a lot of different ones like Minor Threat, Circle Jerks, GBH is one of them, the Germs, and it's very minimal, but I do like punk, and it is in my rotation. And because of the band, they got me into punk. I'm still discovering bands to this day. Because before them, I had nothing in my repertoire, really.
This is my second show in a row that I recorded that someone mentioned DRI, and that makes me very happy as a big DRI fan. What are some of the bands? We talked a lot about older bands, and are there any bands that are newer that are playing your style that you're into? There's one that I hear that I feel like is probably a good comparison. That would be Early Moods. I don't know if you know Early Moods, but
Definitely, man.
Early Moods to me, you guys have a similar vibe. And it's not because of the hair either. It's not. But Early Moods, like without even meeting you or seeing what you look like, Early Moods was like the first band that came to my mind when listening to the EP. Any bands that you would call out?
I actually got a story about Early Moods.
Oh, tell me. Yes.
So the band I mentioned, Ravage Realm, was the thrash band with the other singer I was in, and I used to live in Cali with my dad, and I used to jam out in that studio where they used to jam out in, and I remember buying their record, and I was hitting them up on Instagram, like, "Hey guys, I love your guys' record." It was their debut EP. I think it's called Spellbound, I believe. And I fell in love with it. I was like, dude, I had just started Song, and it was a solo project. And they had released an EP, and I was like, they were honestly my driving force to start my own kind of band in the local scene, because I had wanted to start a band, but I had no peers for the genre in LA. There's no doom in LA. And when I was starting up, reached out to them when I heard their EP, and I was like, "Hey, can I buy a copy?" And they're like, "Yeah, can you meet us at the so and so studio?" And it was a studio we both jammed at. And I remember meeting them in the hallway, and we just chatted. I think his name is Al, the singer. We just chatted up in the hallway, just like very like surprised, like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" You know, we both. And I met up with him in Texas for Hell's Heroes when they performed. They did amazing over there. They have an amazing sound. They're skyrocketing right now too. I'm so proud of them.
A great band. That's so funny that I feel vindicated. I feel like sometimes I know what I'm talking about. What other bands would you call out are ones that, like, you know, kind of peers now that are contemporary bands playing stuff that you like?
I would say, for peers, I would say like Sonolith, like Ian's band. They are become like best friend brothers, if not, you know, you could say, because they have been so supportive to us. And honestly, I'm so grateful that they've been so okay with us letting us the drummer, number one, but just being so like I said, having that brotherly love, because it's been nothing but like companions and best friend feels in the studio, because we share a studio together too. And whenever we run into each other, it's all like, "Man, that song sounds amazing." I'm like, "Dude, not as better as yours, man." And we just go back and forth, and we watch each other's practices, and it's very welcoming. It's very, very awesome, man. Them, and there's another band called Plague Doctor out here who have been, oh man, they're like funeral doom. They're so heavy, man, super heavy. If you have a chance to check them out, they're one of the first bands we played with as well. They're our second show. We played with them, and yeah, they blew us away with their sound.
Awesome. This has been super cool. I really want to see some videos from the record release show. And there's a lot of, I go on a couple of different shows, and we talk about kind of like the future of music, and how a lot of the bands that we like are people who are my age, not necessarily like people who are younger, who are grabbing on to the music we listen to, the stoner doom, whatever you call it. And it's I think this will help to, like, you guys being who you are and where you are in your careers are going to help people understand that there is a future in this music for everybody, because it's what you guys are doing. It's great. It's leveraging all of the classics from back in the day, and just I can't wait to see what you guys do next. What would you say to wrap it up? What would you say to people who, you know, ask you to give you a listen? What should they expect by checking out In Darkness Have Mercy?
Oh man, first of all, thank you for that. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. This is something that I've been working towards with this band for a long time. I didn't give it the attention it needed back when we started, and when we started last year again, I definitely made it my first priority to make sure it's not out of my sight anymore. And you know, second chances are given often, you know, and when they are, you don't want to let go. You learn from your mistakes. But I would definitely say that, you know, it's been a journey, and it's always something to look for something new and to look for something positive. And the music is going to be definitely showing in with the lyrics, you know, and all the feels, you know, it's definitely going to be something true. Something that's like, it's not going to be something that's BS. It's not something that's going to be fake. It's something that's going to be, you know, straight up, you know, it's about it's about life. It's about, you know, a lot of stuff that people go through, a lot of loss, a lot of, you know, struggle. And with that comes, you know, the heavy emotion with the riffs and the everything around it. And I think it's I think we did a good job trying to release that, project that emotion, because I think it's a very emotional / very heavy record.
Yeah, I would agree. It's 4 songs, but it's a gigantic batch of 4 songs. So congratulations. Everyone needs to go listen to In Darkness Have Mercy. The EP is amazing. Look for cassettes and CDs and vinyl soon, I'll say. Can't wait to hear you belt out some Eric Wagner style Trouble at some point. I know that's gonna kill. And
on YouTube, there's a cover of us playing Plastic Greenhead. If you want to,
I'm gonna go find it. Right now. So what I'd ask is just come back and talk to us. Bring the guys next time, and I'd love to have you get just on to just talk about music. You guys have some great taste. What you're putting out there is excellent, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do next.
Thank you so much, Rich, for having us. It's been
Awesome.
a pleasure. You're so awesome, man. Thank you, fellow Trouble fan, too. Have a good one, man.
Absolutely.
I'll
Thanks,
definitely
John.
have Ian and Carlos with me next time, I promise.
Absolutely. Would love that. And everybody go check this out. I think you're going to love it. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. I hate saying that. It's just like weird to say that. But do that so more people can hear these
I'll say it. Like and subscribe to Rich and Turbo, man. They're amazing people doing God's work here, man.
That's gonna be my commercial right there. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Rich. Thank you so much for
Have
having
a good
us,
one.
man.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.